Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello. This is Ignacy and The Podfather from Portal Games.
And this is the Podfather of Gaming, Stephen Bonacore. You are listening to Board Games Insider episode 227, and we are recording on February 9th, 2022. Board Games Insider is a proud member of the Dice Tower Network, and I am so happy to be going on Royal Caribbean's Allure of the Seas, cruising to Honduras, Cozumel, and Costa Maya, Mexico this coming week on the Dice Tower Cruise 2022. Oh, wait a minute. That means Tom Vassal is going to be there for that entire week. Can you still have somebody walk the plank, Ignacy? Asking for a friend.
I saw it in so many movies. It must be a thing. So there is a chance for you.
Very excited about going there. Tom will not defeat my happiness, though he'll try. He'll try. Every time he sees me with a drink in my hand, he will be making fun of me. This is what he does. But it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But Ignacy, what's going on over there at Portal Games? You guys are busy, man. You just keep announcing things that I don't even know about that's going to be happening. That's cool.
I must confess, it's super amazing that every Monday we have a news item for our fans, and I'm super excited every Monday, and I hope some of them are too. This Monday, we announced a new army for Neuroshima Hex, the app. As you guys know, we have an app, one of the first apps for the iPad many years ago, and now we are releasing the new armies, this new edition of the app. And on Monday, we announced that this week on your iPhones and on your Android devices, new army, Neuroshima Hex, New York. Reminder for everyone, for those of you who have the first edition of the app, we give it for free as appreciation gift for the loyal fans. For all the new fans, you will have to buy this app, but it's very cheap, like $1 or something like that. New York is a fan's favorite army because it has this all amazing, unique weaponry. So you have a rocket launcher, you have a shotgun. So in general, when you play Neuroshima Hex, the units just have a gun, and we don't specify what gun it is. New York is a unique army because one dude has a shotgun, one dude has a rocket launcher, one dude has a sharpshooter, and they have different rules. So as you can imagine, fans absolutely love this army for this specific rules for each weapon. So this is what's happening this week. You can go to App Store, you can go to Android, Google Play Store, and download Neuroshima Hex, one of the best apps out there. If you're on a plane, if you're traveling, if you're going to the work, Neuroshima Hex is your choice. My brag of the week must be something that is happening super crazy around 51st State GameFound campaign. The campaign hasn't started yet. We have already almost 10,000 followers. As we are recording, it is 9,500 followers following the project. We haven't spent, be with me, we haven't spent a single dollar on promoting the campaign. It is all organic reach of people just talking about this upcoming campaign on social media and just recommending to each other. And there's this rumor, this gossip, in organic reach. So we are very excited here at Portal Games. I want to thank everyone who signed up for this new edition, 51st State Ultimate Edition. Got people excited, and I'm very proud of that. And because I'm from Poland, I must complain. Like bragging without complaining makes no sense in this area of the Europe. We discussed this many times in the podcast. The industry is in this crazy moment, and the people are reaching for the new items, for the new products, the new games, and distribution. Having so many items in the catalogs, they are not super excited about the reprints. So that's why some of the companies, some of the biggest European companies like Queen Games, have to go to the crowdfunding to create a reprint of the game because retailers and distributors are no longer interested. And here we are, Vox Populi, people are showing, yes, sometimes reprint is also needed. Yes, distribution. Sometimes you need to check out what people are looking for, what they're wanting. And this almost 10,000 followers makes me so happy, and shows that sometimes reprint is a good idea.
Yeah.
Pre-orders and street dates. Gutenberg on pre-order. I can report that everything is safe on ship sailing towards our port. So no delay planned. So you can grab Gutenberg from portalgamesus.com, get additional characters, get free shipping, get it before everyone else. Gutenberg is amazing Euro game from Poland. I'm very proud that I'm bringing this game to North America. And what's happening at HQ? Every Monday announcement. So every Monday, a lot of excitement in the office and with our fans. I'm playtesting Dune, the sequel to Dune, House Secrets. So also super fun time. I love playtesting games. So it is a super fulfilling moment when you create something and then you can play test and see how it goes. So great time for me. Basically, good period of time. Still, I have to say it every week for the past few weeks. I love the beginning of the year. It's super strong. I'm very happy. Please follow us on portalgamesus.com to see what we are preparing for you guys. A lot of new content and ideas.
It's such an interesting time, right? Because it's busy, right? It's really busy in the office, and because everything is now the motion is now starting so that you get everything ready for when
S and for Q3, Q4, and everything is right now.
It's got to be motion now, or else it doesn't happen then. Especially when we're talking about brand new titles, things that you're developing. If you're not deeply into it, that's going to be a problem. So over here at the Podfather of Gaming, it's I don't have a lot to report on this time. Very little gaming this week. We had to cancel the Gloomhaven online because Tom is deeply involved in trying to make sure everything's ready to get on the ship.
For the cruise?
Mm-hmm. For the cruise. So we didn't do it this week, but don't worry, guys. That's a thing, and you're going to start seeing that posted on the Dice Tower YouTube channel in March, and I'll cross post on a playlist over at the Podfather of Gaming channel. Remodeling is just annoying me now because now we're just in a waiting period, waiting for all those doors to show up. Once the doors show up, I mean, then the house is finished. But
this is ridiculous. That the only problem you have is a lack of doors.
Yeah,
my company is called Portal, so I love doors. So I'm confused. Like,
can you send me some doors? Because I got the bedrooms all have doors, but the closets. I'm sitting in my office here. You can't see it from here, but to my left, I got a closet with no doors on it, and I just see my messy closet. So I'm going to be having the week after the cruise. We're going to be talking about that in a couple of weeks. The week after the cruise, I'm going to have Corey Thompson here for the week and Julie and Dan Luxembourg here for the week. They're staying over, and we're going to game, and we're going to hang out and go to the pool, and they some of them might be looking for a house down here, because for things. Let's see if they find something. Sadly, they're not going to have doors on the closets. The rooms have doors, but the closets have no doors. Crazy stuff. One cool thing that happened this week is that all of the outdoor kitchen has been fully hooked up, and the fire pit is hooked up. So I cranked on the grill, and I specifically cooked the gamut of things. I cooked salmon, sausage, hamburgers, and hot dogs. Because I wanted to make sure that I understood the characteristics of the grill and the temperatures that, because certain grills get hotter than others and things like that. So I was playing with it, and everything worked out great. So I had a great time grilling for Paula and I. And this is, of course, now in prep for when we're going to have guests here for a week. So we're going to be all ready to do that and have a great time in the winter in South Florida, which is really like the summer in many, many places. It's beautiful down here now. As I mentioned, the cruise next week, not much else to talk about. We'll give you the highlights of that when I return, but really looking forward to it. It's like, doesn't matter where we're going, it's just going to be wonderful being on the cruise with old friends, meeting new friends, hanging out. There's going to be so much to do. And I always tell people when I see them and I talk, if you have never been on a cruise and then you've never been on a gaming cruise, it's a great way. Gaming cruise is a great way to do a cruise because you immediately have X hundred number of friends right there willing to play games with you. You'll see them. Everyone's wearing their badges around the cruise ship. So it's going to be a heck of a great time. We'll talk more about that in a week or so. Let's get to the event deck. So we got a bunch of news after having a slower news week, and we went through all the news last time. The first thing is about there's a new CEO at Wizards of the Coast. If you remember, we talked about the Wizards of the Coast CEO was promoted to the Hasbro CEO because they realized that they were doing so well, and this guy just upped the game. And who did they bring in? They brought in someone from Microsoft. For this second time in 6 years, Hasbro has gone to Microsoft to find a new executive to run Wizards of the Coast. Hasbro has hired Microsoft executive Cynthia Williams as president of Wizards of the Coast and Digital Gaming, taking over when current WotC CEO Chris Cox ascends to become CEO of Hasbro on February 25th, the company announced. Cox came to the Wizards of the Coast CEO role from Microsoft in 2016. So the big takeaway here is that this is a serious position to be in, and you're gonna see why even more in a second. And they've gone to Microsoft and they brought over this very talented woman to head up this division, which is the biggest division now of Hasbro, and it's just killing it. So very excited to see a woman be put in this position, and WotC Hasbro taking this division to be such an important part of the company as a whole.
Absolutely agree. When I was preparing to the show and I was checking about this new CEO, the resume makes a quite impression. So right person on the right spot. It's gonna be good for all of us geeks.
It absolutely is. And how could they go and hire these big talented people? Because you know what? WotC has sold over $950 million in tabletop games in 2021, as company revenues passed $1 billion for the first time. So Wizards of the Coast booked $952 million in tabletop game sales in 2021, powering the company to over $1 billion in total sales, which also includes, of course, the digital gaming revenues. For the first time, parent Hasbro revealed in its Q4 and full year earnings release and conference call this past Monday. Wizards of the Coast was moved into a new operating segment, Wizards of the Coast and Digital Gaming, over the past few years, but Hasbro has not previously released how much of the segment sales were digital and how much were tabletop. In the conference call, interim CEO Richard Stoddard told analysts that tabletop games accounted for 74% of the $1.3 billion in sales for the segment of 2021 and grew at a blistering rate of 44%. Digital games were 26% of the segment and grew at a slower but still very robust 36%. I mean, that's just staggering. Let me just finish a little bit more here. Hasbro reported total game sales of $2.1 billion for the first year, up 19% from a very successful 2022. Beyond Magic the Gathering and other brands doing well included Dungeons & Dragons, Duel Masters, and Hero Quest, which was launched direct to consumer. Ignacy, these numbers are staggeringly good for hobby gaming. Let's face it, this is the stuff that we do. They just do it on a larger scale. Amazing.
We are taking control over the world.
And the geek shall inherit the earth.
Absolutely.
Hasbro reported $6.4 billion in total revenue for the year, up 17% from 2020. Net earnings were $428.7 million, up 93% from $222.5 million in 2020. It's just staggering. And the funny thing, they don't even talk, at least this article is from ICV2, of course, which is centered around hobby. They're not even mentioning monopoly and what the mass market is doing, because the hobby gaming is doing so much better than all of that.
I heard the secret agenda of this new CEO of Hasbro is to kill off monopoly. Like, this is his geek mission. He's there to do it.
I don't know that that's true, but that would be pretty funny if it was. And continuing with more WotC news, I mean, I know that's, we normally have like these Asmodee news shows, right? We have a WotC news show today, and this is a great one. So you have this huge company within hobby gaming, and they can do some amazing things, right, for the entire industry. And what is WotC doing now? Wizards of the Coast opens up the 2022 Retail Improvement Grant applications. And this is for retailers in the US, Canada, and Japan. Wizards of the Coast opened up the application process for their 2022 Retail Improvement Grants. The 2022 Retail Improvement Grants were aimed at helping retailers attain WPN premium status as they had in the past. The 2022 grants can be used to pay for up to half of the applied for project's total cost and can be applied to in any one of 4 categories: furniture, design, operational, and construction. Retailers can also apply for multiple types of grants with the same application. Applications are due March 31st, 2022, so that WotC can review them in the first quarter. The grant application form is found on WotC's WPN site. So what does this all mean? So I know there are some retailers out there that listen, and obviously lots of gamers that go to retail stores. So everybody out there, if they've got a retail store that could use a little bit of improvement, I mean, everybody can, you can go get your retailer to go apply for a grant to make that store even better. And it could be furniture, design of the store, operational improvement, and construction. So think about that you can actually help your store become a better place if they just make an application and WotC reviews this and says, wow, this is a store that really can use something here. We can help them. They're a Magic store as part of other things, and they sell Magic and D&D and other things, and they can make your store even better. So I urge everybody out there to go to WotC's site and look for the WPN part of their site and have their retailers apply for this. It would be free money. The retailer has to kick in too, but that's amazing.
I absolutely applaud this. Great decision from WotC. They have some money to spend, and they are spending them very, very well. So I appreciate that. And of course, I live in Poland, so I see game stores in America only from social media when somebody posts a picture. But I saw in the previous years a huge improvement of how game stores look like these days. Like there's so many owners who create the beautiful stores with the beautiful presentation of all the shelves and the games, and they are clean and very light, with the lots of beautiful furniture, etc., etc. But we and Steven probably remembers that, like in the 90s, the game store was like a the Dragon's Lair, like with no light whatsoever and some dorky weirdos playing games. So now stepping up the game and making these game stores open for average customer who will go inside and see, wow, this is beautiful. So many games, bright space, nice people. We are looking at this direction. And as I said, looking from perspective from Europe, I see a huge improvement in America in general in stores. And this is, once again, what's helping to go in this direction. We need beautifully designed stores to attract customers who never was geeks before.
Very, very, very true. It used to be terrible, those stores. Lots of them have gotten better. Some of the bad ones have closed. If WotC can help you make your store better, take advantage of that. I think it'd be great. So more people on the move. T Cares heads to Snowbright Studio. T is a really cool person, good friend. They're going there as the new COO and co-founder. So Snowbright Studio announced that T Cares has joined their company as the chief operations officer and co-founder. This Cleveland-based LGBTQ+ game studio is the publisher of such games as Tea Time Adventures and Time Trails. Tea Time Adventures, which was their first tabletop Kickstarter campaign, raised $67,477 from 920 backers, $73 a backer. Cares was previously the Gamma channel manager at Hobby USA. Cares has been an active Gamma member and recently challenged Stefan Brassard for the publisher's Gamma board seat in a special election held last September. Quote, I've always strongly believed that making and playing games should be about people, said T about joining Snowbright. Making games, the business of making games, should focus on the people that are doing and making the playing, not the financial bottom line. Gaming is really about the people playing games and the experiences they have while playing. I'm really excited about this, and that's why I read everything that was part of this news story, because they're a really good person, and I'm very proud of them that they have moved into this new role. This is good. And again, it's a very inclusive game company, as you notice by what their focus is. It's an LGBTQ plus game studio based out of Cleveland. So T, good luck with this. I think that's really great for you and the industry.
Absolutely. Good luck. I also know Tiffany personally, so absolutely good luck. All the best.
Excelente. The last story we're going to do for today is something that is interesting to me, not because CMON is doing just another Kickstarter. It's because of the numbers and what the number was versus other numbers they've done. So Marvel Zombies topped $9 million on Kickstarter, and it's quite high on the all-time Kickstarter chart now. So CMON's Marvel Zombies miniature board game, which uses the Zombicide core mechanics, wrapped up its Kickstarter last Thursday, raising $9 million in 16 days, hitting Kickstarter's all-time top dollars chart. The game and expansions raised just over $9 million from almost 30,000 backers, or $311 per backer. The gigantic Galactics game piece helped draw backers to the higher pledge levels. And Marvel Zombies raised the most ever for a CMON game, easily beating Zombicide, Green Horde, which raised just over $5 million. So it's funny. So CMON almost created the big Kickstarter, I thought, in my mind at least, right? But their biggest Kickstarter ever was just over half of this one. Now, they've had multi-million-dollar Kickstarters again and again and again. But their biggest one ever, 5 million. This one, 9 million. I thought that was pretty amazing difference. So if anybody has any thought that Kickstarter is going away or that it doesn't play a huge role even for the biggest companies, you're wrong. This was a big number. And guess who backed it like all in? Really crazy of me to do that.
Congratulations to Simon. Obviously, that was like a ultimate combo. Like you have a Zombicide that was on the Kickstarter many times. There is so many versions of Zombicide. You combined it with Marvel. This is like a winning combo. Then you add this big miniature that is not called miniature. This is like a big plastic piece. They were trying this before with Death May Die. There was a big Cthulhu miniature as well, and it worked for them very well. So they said, okay, let's go again with this big piece of plastic. So a super well executed operation that proves that experience and knowledge pays off, basically.
Absolutely.
You would never do it if you're the first time in the industry, but they know how to pull it off. Yep. Congratulations.
Yep.
Epic, absolutely epic.
Yeah, you can't pull this off unless you've got a tremendous amount of people. I mean, just a huge team. So, I mean, the cost of doing this Kickstarter is huge as well. So, by the way, this Marvel Zombies campaign charts at number 4 all time after Frosthaven, Kingdom Death Monster 1.5, and Avatar Legends role-playing game. Yes, that is a huge campaign. And while we say that, let's get over to strategy and tactics. Ewan Lemmings, who's at E1 Prime, he asks, a minor nuisance that's been bothering me. Could you tell me why many Kickstarters now have these little surveys as soon as you back, which asks for your email, USA or international backer, and how did you hear about this project? Isn't that information provided by the Kickstarter platform anyway? You know, I don't know. I don't know who's collecting that information. I assume they're just making sure who you are and
Kickstarter will provide you the email address. Kickstarter
Sure.
will tell us if you are from USA or from Europe, but Kickstarter will not tell us how you learn about this Kickstarter campaign. And we as a creators, we need to know what works for us. If this is a Facebook ad, if this is one of the influencers that got a preview copy, if this is organic reach of Kickstarter, because there's so many of you on the Kickstarter platform every day, just randomly browsing the website. And for us, we need as a creators, as a publishers, we need to spend money in the best way possible. Like, so if we see in the stats that the most of the backers came from Facebook ads, that means that we will send less review copies because they don't make much sense, because we need to have Facebook ads, or maybe opposite. So we need the data, and this is true for every business, for every company. The more data we can process and learn how to spend money more wisely, because this is what business do.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. You're 100% right that this has to do with finding out where that person found you. They could just be following you, right? And that's the path of least resistance. But if they found you via an ad that showed up on Facebook, well, then that tells you something. Maybe that's where you want to focus more money. Excellent. Ben Stein, who's at Ben1Music, he asks, how many different board games did each of you play before you felt like you were an expert in the hobby? Well, Ben, I'm not an expert now, I don't think. I mean, expert gamer, like I know everything and I can beat people. I'm not an expert. I suck. Ignacy, how many games?
I felt like an expert for years, obviously. But these days, there's so many games released. There's so many publishers. There is so many different avenues. There's Kickstarter. There's GameFound. There is retail. There is different things. So I know less than I used to know. Back then, I was very cocky about my knowledge about knowing the designers, knowing the publishers, knowing the titles, knowing everything that was released. I remember many years ago, I don't know if you remember this, that Tom Vassell was proud of himself that he was reviewing every game released in the year. And then suddenly it was impossible because there's so many games released. So at some point, each of us thinks that we know everything. And then there's reality check, and we don't.
That's right. Yeah, no, you put it perfectly. In an industry that 2,000 games are released on a single day, and of course, hundreds, if not thousands more across the rest of the year, you're never going to be an expert on everything that's happening. You may be an excellent board gamer, you know, and we all speak the language of board gaming very well, right? I mean, that's sort of makes us an expert because we have the common tongue, the tongue of board gaming. If I say, well, it's a worker placement, hand management, resource management game, we all know exactly what I just said and then how that's implemented. So none of us are experts. Good way of putting it. TR Knight, my buddy TR, he asks, will the increasing price of wood impact the cost of games or push more of them to plastic and resin components? Have alternate durable materials like bamboo been considered for game components? Ignacy, go ahead.
I think that at least in Europe, we see a really very strong movement of being being ecological, and against the plastic. So I rather see companies increasing the price of the game and being eco and promoting these that our games are planet friendly. Our games are not ruining the environment. Then putting more and more plastic. I see this trend in Europe. We are discussing internally as well. So I don't know if it is for the whole industry. I don't know if it is for all the publishers, but I see a lot of decisions here in Europe that we prefer to have less plastic in games if possible.
Prefer to have less plastic, keep the amount of wood, paper, you know, in the games. I did not notice that wood prices were going up. And if TR was talking specifically about like lumber prices in the US, I don't know that had any impact on where the games are being manufactured. And it's a different kind of wood that are used between home building and in games. It's a completely different kind of wood between those two. So I don't know that wood was really going up in prices. I haven't looked at a recent, price sheet showing that kind of information. But I don't think that has been the case. And hopefully we'll continue using renewable resources like wood and paper versus plastics to the extent that makes sense. Eric Langenbach, he asks, he's at Langness. Have you ever been pitched, designed, or had an idea for a game that looked great, but the technology wasn't there yet, like app-driven games before smartphones were everywhere and so on? And if so, did you come back to them? Or if you were not retired, do you plan on coming back to them? So he's asking, so did we ever get a game where the technology to do the game was not quite there yet? Ignacy,
I had a couple of interactions with such ideas. I got pitches to some parts of my games to make them better with AR technology. So at some point, players will be just using the phone on the piece in the game and has some response from the app. I didn't go with this solution, but then a few years later, we had Chronicles of Crime, a great game that uses this system. I was invited by Ravensburger a couple of years ago. They had some new technology, and they were looking for the designers to use this technology. So the technology was already there. It was also using a phone and reading the materials through the phone. I haven't designed anything for this device. So sometimes you see that somebody is approaching you. We also get contact from Cool Workshop, the famous Polish producer of the dice, who had a dice that was rolling dice as a physical object and then sending the results to the app. And then it was generating a super awesome results, because it could be 1, 2, or 3, or it could be some special effects in the app. So they were saying you will have in the game physical die, but then the results will be in the app. So sometimes we are approached by the developers from the IT world, and they are asking us if you want to design something with that. We designers are still working with scissors and paper, and we don't understand this idea. So it's always difficult and hard to come up with this idea when you see some new technology, but it is new for you. So
yeah, that's right. With me, it was actually more of people pitched to me concepts of a game, of a production that was so wild that the cost of the game would have just been too high to make it work correctly. I had to pass on things that had like movable boards and things like that, that physically the board would change because it was like a warp, I guess it was, or something. I don't remember what the game was about, but the board would transform as the game progressed. Mm-hmm. And it just was too hard to do. So nothing technology wise, but the physical components of the board were just too much. And I said, not enough game to do this, that kind of thing. It was a great concept, but it was not going to work production wise. Arno Vanderkwast, he's at Full Moon. He asks, hey guys, hopefully the Golden Geek Award for Best Podcast will be awarded to you soon. I voted for you. Thank you, Arno. But here follow my questions. How will your retirement look like over 10 years, Stephen? I mean, you are still very active in the board game scene. Will you be able to keep that up? And Ignacy, how many years of great games may we expect from you before you retire too? And how will your retirement look like, as you say that holidays are less your thing and neither is traveling? Thank you again for the great podcast and behind the scenes look. Hope to meet you at Spiel soon, Arno. So Arno, I'd like to think I'm kind of young. I know Ignacy is much, much younger. I'm not old, but I'm older. But I'm going to stay in this role. I'm going to stay in the role of podcaster, live streamer, hang out and do Dice Tower work, possibly do work with other media outlets. Fun things. I'm not going to do anything that taxes me because I'm just enjoying myself. So 10 years from now, will I still do this? Don't know that. but certainly I got several years more of doing this and just having fun. Ignacy, what do you think? I think you have many, many, many years left. I don't think that's whole promoting of Greg is going to make you retire anytime soon.
Somewhere around 2017, when I was super tired after First Martians, I announced here in Poland that I'm going to do 1 or 2 games and I'm done. And then I did Detective and get all these awards and got stuck with designing new standalone games for Detective. And I'm doing a Batman Detective, so I'm not retiring this from this project. At some point, obviously, I will be done. I'm super happy of what I already achieved. I have a couple of ideas for the games. So I'm considering, I'm playing with this idea at some point to say, that's it from Ignacy for games. So I don't know, maybe in 10 years, I will no longer be designer. I'll be only influencer like Steven, just having fun, but not working. We will see. But for sure, it is closer than not closer. Like,
yeah. Maybe Ignacy's tipping his hand, as they say. Who knows? He's going to be coming to me to see where the best property in Florida is. I know. Okay, we'll talk. Christopher Ross, he's at Unco. He asks, you use the term hobby game a lot, and I was wondering how you would define it. Would you consider the Kenner Spiel des Jahres an award for hobby games and Spiel des Jahres an award for family games? Would you consider Survive a hobby game or a family game? Maybe you have answered this in the past. Thank you for the podcast. I've been a listener for a long time and enjoy it a lot. I use the term hobby game for all games that are not like in the monopolies, those games that just sit in every place you can possibly buy a game. After that, every game is a hobby game. And sure, while Survive and all of the Spiel des Jahres award games are family games as well, they still are part of the hobby because gamers will play them too. We like those games. To us, they'll become a filler. They'll become something we do play with our family. They'll become something we do last game of the night. Oh, I'm tired. It's like midnight. Well, all right, one more game. And you play the lighter games. To me, they're all part of the hobby. And of course, the hobby games expand to role playing. I mean, they're all part of the hobby. They're things that we relate to, not the stuff that we say, no, thank you. I don't want to play Monopoly and Sorry and Trouble and those things. Ignacy, how do you define the hobby?
This is super difficult question these days. Like 5 years ago, it was super easy because exactly as you said, for me, hobby game was a game that you have to buy at the game store because in the Target, Walmart, etc., there is only monopolies. With the big change in American market, when you can go to the Walmart and find quite a good board game these days, go to Barnes and Nobles and find all these hobby games on the shelves. We need to redefine the whole concept. As I said, this 10 years ago or 5 years ago, it was a game that you have to go to the game store to buy. We are living in a great days of hobby games being available in malls, in regular stores, and it's beautiful. So now I don't know how to define it.
All good ideas and questions, but now we're going to take some question and answer from you as we go to play testing. All right, Ignacy. So last week, I asked everybody, will all or most of the Asmodee companies like Days of Wonder, Catan Studios, FFG, will they be this year at Origins, UK Games Expo, Gen Con, or the Essen Spiel? And we had a lot of people chime in on this. And let me take a couple of these and you'll take a few of them too. So Mike Wallachie, he says, I think they will definitely skip Origins, most likely skip the UK and Expo and Gen Con. And Essen has about a 50% chance of their attendance.
Let me just take a dice. I will roll it right now.
They are just too big to need the convention boost, and it isn't where they are looking for growth. Interesting. So it was kind of a negative one that it's not going to happen. Brent Nowicki, he says to us, I think Asmodee or its subsidiaries will have a virtual presence similar to how the video game industry has moved away towards big conferences and done it for a production scale with virtual show that doesn't require person attendees. So he's saying that they're out completely. Go with Melanie Cogdell. My vote is no. If not attending did not hurt their sales compared to the cost of conventions, no. So everybody's saying they're not coming back, Ignacy. What do you?
Yep.
I mean, what are you thinking of? What are your people thinking?
Yes, I picked the answer from Kirk, and he says, I think if they do attend, and the best chance is that they will go to Essen, especially as a trade show and not a true con, perhaps just so they can scout out their next acquisition. Hello, Essen. I'm coming to get some spotlight from Asmodee. So yes, Kirk says only Essen. I also was voting for the answer from Brent because he said that they will focus on virtual conventions and not the actual physical ones. And we have a very interesting answer from Bruce. I don't know if you can comment on this because you know more about this. He says, I bet Asmodee will have a presence of some kind at Origins. And he says, since Asmodee North America is the title sponsor of the Gamma Expo and Origins is put on by Gamma. So he says Asmodee is sponsoring Gamma, Origins is Gamma's show, so they will go to the Origins. I'm skeptical because Origins is quite a small convention for Asmodee to go there, but I don't know what is your point of view here.
For which one? For Origins?
For Asmodee going to Origins.
I think that they won't do it. I don't think they're going to do Origins. That's the one I said. I think I said last week that they won't do. They've never had a big presence there, and sometimes they've just skipped it. Like I know like Fantasy Flight has not been there for many years. So I think that's a skipper for them. We'll see.
This is interesting, as you mentioned, that most of the answers here is that they will not attend.
Yeah.
And that shows that we as a gamers, you as our listeners, getting used to the fact that Asmodee can ignore convention scene, which 2 years ago was like a mind-blowing concept. And now, due to the things that happened over these 2 years, we are slowly getting used to, yes, it may be the situation, the environment in the future is that Asmodee focuses their budget on virtual cons or different ads and events and not go to the trade shows.
It's going to be really interesting and very telling to see what happens with them this year. I don't think though, I don't think that if they don't go, that these conventions are going to fold. There are still a lot of people that want to go to the conventions, and a lot of gamers that want to go, and a lot of publishers that want to show off their games. So not having them on some level is a plus for other publishers. Probably not a plus for gamers because they would like to see the new games that Asmodee has. Interesting. It's gonna be a very interesting year because, well, we're still fighting the COVID thing, but since it's getting better and things are opening up, will they make it? Stay tuned, everybody. Ignacy.
I do have a question. I do have a question.
You do.
Can you name a game you owned, then sold, and now you regret selling it? And the game is now out of print and you regret it so much.
Yeah, it's a great question. I guarantee I could come up with more answers to this because I had I still have a big, but I had a big and older collection with a lot of old games in it for a while. And I did a lot of math trades back in the day. I mean, I was a huge math trader on Board Game Geek. Everyone knew me before Stronghold. And I was getting rid of games, getting games, this and that. I collected all kinds of great games, sold a bunch of games. The one game that I remember that I traded away was Battle Masters. Do you remember that game? It's a huge plastics game from Milton Bradley. There's a million pieces there. I think they came on sprues and you had to take them off and sand them down. And I got rid of that game, traded it for something good, I'm sure. But it's kind of a classic, and it would be nice to still have it. And it was out of print when I traded it, much less now. So yeah, that's one. Anything you could say the same about?
I made a mistake and I sold a copy of Hoity Toity, the old game from Germany. And then my wife Mary told me that I was not allowed to do that, and that she needs this copy back. And it was a game that was out of print, and I had to buy it in a second-hand store in Germany. It was not an easy task to do, but my wife said, "Never again sell a game without consulting with me." And I learned my lesson, and I'm never doing it again.
I'm trying to remember if I have. I know that I had it. Beat my BGG thing. My BGG list is so out of date. So it says I own it, but I don't think I own it. I think that's one of the ones I got rid of. One of my projects for 2022 is going to be to reestablish my entire collection and put it back on
Awesome.
on Board Game Geek. But it literally is maybe 10 years out of date at this point. It's all kinds of craziness. So everybody out there listening, we ask you guys, can you name a game you own, sold, and now you regret selling it? And the game is out of print.
Your regret stories.
That's right. Tell us your regret story. And Ignacy right now is creating a thread on Board Game Geek with this answer. So go to our guild on BGG and find our playtesting thread for this question and post it there. Ignacy, by the way, I didn't change your English at all. It was just good. I mean, maybe
I'm getting better. I'm getting better with you.
It's very good. In the meantime, let's get to the final scoring. Thank you so much for listening. Help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts, or now watch Board Games Insider on the Podfather Gaming YouTube channel. To ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment, you must post them in the correct thread in our guild on Board Game Geek. To answer our question to you from our playtesting segment, you must also go to the guild on Board Game Geek and look for the thread with this episode's question. Board Games Insider has a Facebook page, so please like us on Facebook. Also on Facebook, please like Ignacy's page and Steven's page, which are /PortalGamesUS and /PodfatherGaming. Our websites are portalgamesus.com and podfathergaming.com. Go there, sign up for our newsletters, and get up-to-the-minute information on what's happening at Portal Games and with the Podfather. On social media, you can speak directly to Ignacy and Steven. On Twitter and Instagram, it's @PortalGamesUS and @PodfatherGaming. On YouTube, the channel names are Portal Games Movies, Portal Games Gameplays, and the Podfather of Gaming. TikTok, that's Ignacy, Portal Games US. We hope to see you at an upcoming convention in 2022. We got Dice Tower Cruise next week. Well, that one's already passed by now. Dice Tower West in March. Hopefully we'll see some people there. It's going to be great. See me at least. Board Games Insider is professionally edited by Matthew Jude from This Game is Broken podcast. If you'd like him to edit your podcast, please contact him on Twitter or email at thisgameisbrokenpodcast@gmail.com. Also, that great voice you hear doing our intro, outro, and in-between segments is that of Ray Greenlee. He can be contacted to do voiceover work for you at raygreenleevoiceover.com. Ignacy, I see you typing something here. You have something special to report to our friends and fans.
There was rumors that my vlog is over, 100 episodes in 100 days, and this is over. It was over of Slavic Ignacy on YouTube, but it was not over of Portal Games on YouTube, because I have amazing Danielle, who's working with us in America, and she took control over this YouTube channel, and now she's doing for our fans. That is you guys. Amazing live streams every Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. You can log into YouTube and be with her for half an hour. She's making a coffee and just doing this chill out, lazy Sunday morning, chatting about the board games. She's less Slavic than me.
She is so nice. Danielle is awesome. So
yes.
I'm happy that she's doing this Sunday morning.
This is a great change for our fans on YouTube. Like from Slavic Ignacy to amazing Danielle, guys. You need to check it out every Sunday morning.
Very, very cool. Everyone go check that out. Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern time with Danielle. She is amazing. Ignacy, thank you. And let's thank everybody. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Wrong button.